Welcome to Carl Ebeling's channel. Today, we'll dive into the German reaction to the largest amphibious assault in history, the Allied landings at Normandy on June 6, 1944. Since June 1940, when Germany consolidated its control over France, the German High Command knew an Allied invasion was inevitable. What they didn't know was when or, more importantly, where. France's Atlantic coastline stretches almost 3,000 kilometers, making the task of predicting the landing site daunting. By 1942, as it became clear that Hitler couldn't defeat Stalin and the war would drag on for years, Germany began preparing for a potential Allied invasion. This preparation included constructing the so-called Atlantic Wall, a colossal line of coastal defenses stretching from the Spanish border to Norway. In some areas, the wall was little more than observation posts and small machine gun nests, but in others, it was a formidable barrier of bunkers and artillery emplacements. By 1944, the Germans had already been pushed out of North Africa and were steadily losing ground in Italy and Eastern Europe. They knew a third front in France was inevitable, yet they remained uncertain about its timing and location. This confusion was no accident, it was a result of Allied deception operations. Starting in July 1943, the Allies launched Operation Bodyguard, designed to convince the Germans that the invasion would target Calais, just 30 kilometers from Britain. This effort was further enhanced by Operation Fortitude, which planted fake intelligence, sabotaged German communication lines, and created phantom armies. The ruse worked spectacularly, dividing the German High Command. Most German leaders, including Hitler, were convinced that Calais would be the target. Meanwhile, Field Marshal Owen Rommel, the famed Desert Fox, believed Normandy was the likely landing site. Tasked with strengthening the Atlantic Wall, Rommel reinforced Normandy's defenses, installing steel spikes to block landing craft and deploying wooden stakes in open fields to destroy gliders. He also stationed hundreds of artillery pieces across a 20-kilometer zone, ready to repel the invasion. In February 1944, the Allies finalized their plans, choosing 5 beaches in Normandy as the landing sites. With the date and location set, they ramped up their deception efforts, targeting railways and supply routes leading to Calais and even creating a fake army under General Patton, a commander well known to the Germans. On the night of June 5 and the early hours of June 6, the largest fleet in history, over 6,000 ships, began moving toward the Normandy coast. The fleet ranged from massive battleships bombarding coastal defenses to tiny landing craft carrying soldiers, vehicles, and supplies. Hours before the landings, nearly 15,000 paratroopers from the U.S. 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions dropped behind enemy lines. Their mission was to sabotage German artillery and disrupt communication lines. By dawn on June 6, the amphibious assault was underway, with Allied troops storming 5 beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Resistance varied. Utah saw relatively little opposition, while Omaha became a slaughterhouse, with U.S. infantry facing fierce German defenses. The German response. For German troops in Normandy, it was clear this was the real invasion. The sheer scale, over 100,000 soldiers landing in waves across 5 beaches, left no doubt. However, confusion reigned at the German High Command. When the first reports of paratroopers reached Hitler, he was asleep after a late dinner. No German commander, not even Rommel, was allowed to move large units without Hitler's explicit approval. By the time Hitler was informed, it was late morning on June 6, precious hours had been lost. Incredibly, Hitler remained convinced that Normandy was a diversion, insisting the main landing would still occur at Calais. This belief delayed the deployment of critical armored divisions, including the elite 1st SS Panzer Division Adolf Hitler and 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich. Rommel, ironically, was in Germany at the time, attending his wife's birthday and petitioning Hitler for more tanks. By June 7, as Allied forces secured their foothold, Hitler finally realized the Normandy invasion was the real deal. He ordered all available forces in France to converge on Normandy. But it was too late. Rommel had repeatedly warned that the first 24 hours would be decisive. If the Allies established a beachhead, they would be impossible to dislodge. His fears proved correct. Thanks to the Allies' brilliant deception and Hitler's overconfidence, the Germans missed their chance to repel the invasion,